Hello, How To Bob here, and it's time to change out the battery on my 2002 Honda Shadow Sabre 1100. The battery on this bike is located on the left side underneath the plastic cover here, which is held on by three little pins that are pushed into plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off, and I need a 10mm socket, and there's a nut right there. And you can see I have a lot of accessories on this bike, heated jackets and a battery tender and some lights and whatnot. So you may not have all these wires going to your battery, but the process is still the same. So I'm going to remove this nut here using my 10mm socket, and that's going to loosen up the battery holder, which then just slides out. You can see I have some tie wraps here holding my wires into place right here and here. So I'm going to have to go ahead and cut those off. You may not have those. They were just put on there to hold the wires in place. So now that I have my wires loose, I can go ahead and pull the battery holder out. It comes out from the top. I have to work the wires around, and I can then take my battery holder out, and you can see there's a tab here at the bottom. I'll show you that a little bit later, how that goes back in. So now I'm going to pull my battery out just a little bit so I can get to the terminals, and I'm going to go ahead and unloosen the positive battery terminal first. You can use the 10mm socket on this as well, or you can use a screwdriver. Once I get that out, I'll pull all the wires off of it, and then I'll go to the negative side and unscrew that. And again, you can use the 10mm socket or a screwdriver, whichever makes it easier for you. Now that I've got all my wires loose, I can go ahead and pull the battery out, and it just slides right out, and you can see this is the original. Now here's the battery holder, and you can see there's two slots here that go on these tabs down here, and they just hook underneath, and then the single hole here pushes onto the screw right here, and then I put the nut on. So that's how the battery holder goes back in. Now this new battery has two places for bolts, which is great because I can hook up different wires to different spots, and I don't have to jam them all into one. So I'm going to go ahead and put my new battery back in. It just slides in there. Let me get the wires out of the way, and it just slides in to the area, and then I'm going to put my screws through a few terminals. I'm going to put some on the top, and then I save my old screws from the old battery, and I'll put the old screws on the front of the battery with some of my accessory wires. And again, you may not have that many accessories, so you may not have that many wires. Now I'm going to use the 10mm socket to tighten up these terminals on the top, just because I have a real long extension for it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some of these wires on the front. Like I said, I had some lights, I have some heated gear, and a battery tender that I also hook up to my battery. So there's a lot of things hooked up to my battery, but this battery's been good. It's lasted me probably a good 10 years, so it's doing pretty good, I think. And I just go ahead and tighten this with the screwdriver. Now I'm going to work on the negative side. All I do is put the screw through the terminals, and I'm going to start out with the top. You may have to pull out the battery a little bit depending on the seat that you have. This is a Mustang seat on this bike here, so I'll just pull this out a little bit, just enough to get the socket in there and get that terminal tightened up snug. And then I'll go ahead and hook up some of my accessory wires to the front terminal on this battery. It's really nice that it has two positive and two negative terminals. Once I get that all put together, I'll go ahead and tighten it up with my screwdriver, since it's pretty easy to access here on the front. Once I get that all done, I'm going to go ahead and get my battery holder, and you can see the two tabs go in these slots here, and I have to hook them on the bottom and then slowly raise it up and work around the wires, get the wires on top of the battery holder so that it goes all the way back to the mounting screw that is on the bike. And once I get it back all the way, I can get my nut and just screw it onto the mounting bolt here on the bike and get that tightened down using my 10mm socket. Doesn't have to be super tight, just tight enough to snug it up. Now I'm going to tuck my wires in out of the way. I have a lot of wires on this bike. I know you're looking at it going, wow, there's a lot of wires. But I'm going to tuck them in out of the way, and then I can put my cover on, and that's how you change the battery in a 2002 Honda Shadow Sabre. This is How To Bob. Thanks for watching.